Hey there, this is Lee Matos, Senior Support Engineering Manager, Americas East, with an update about the Americas Support Response Crew, the next steps meeting we just had on January 19th. And I wanted to recap that meeting and share with you some takeaways. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you're like, what's Response Crew? Here's some links. Or if you're wondering, maybe from APAC in APAC region has not adopted Support Crew yet. So if you're wondering and want to read more, here's some of the materials we already have. But basically what happened is we ran a trial and I made a slide deck that analyzed that result. We also had a meeting to talk about those results and what we need to do from there, right? What do we need to change about Crew? What do we need to understand? So if you want to look at that doc, there's a link. And if you want to watch the video of our conversation, there's also a link for that there. This presentation will be linked below, so you can check that out. So one of the things that came up in the conversation, which I really appreciated, engineers talked about burnout and talked about when they felt burnt out. And that is a serious word. And I think that I wanted to make sure I took a minute to talk about that. So if you're an engineer watching this or you're a manager watching this, burnout is serious. So we should take a second to talk about that and understand that. So I want to make sure that engineers know that I was listening and I heard that. And I think in the context, engineers were using it as these were moments and times where I felt exhausted, right? And that it wasn't full-fledged, complete burnout. But if it is, or you think that that's happening, talk to someone. We're here and I'd love to listen. So that was my read, but if I was wrong, that's why I wanted to put this slide in and make sure that I addressed that because I heard it and I want to make sure that people know that we're listening. The next thing, the two big key takeaways that came out of there were we wanted to focus on results. We felt Crew is a process that we think is working okay, and we need to adjust something to get these two results. We want to improve our FRT in AMER, get it back consistently into the 95% range or above. And we also noticed that there is a handover period in America's West to APAC that we need to improve on FRT and NRT. And so with that, those are the two things that we really want to focus on. And out of that meeting, we ideated and came up with a few ideas. From the meeting, there were 4. And after that, I spoke with some folks and 1 more came out. So they're listed here in order of priority. So the top priority right now, I think, is we need to balance FRT and NRT and pay attention to that. We also came out with another one that I think is pretty simple to do and we can start to iterate on immediately, which is that there can be a style of working together with people, and some people may prefer a more video-based collaborative workflow, and some people may prefer a only when needed work together and work more silently separately. And both of those things work as long as we're solving tickets and helping our fellow teammates. But if you are someone who wants to work silently, in a crew with someone who wants to jump on a Zoom call and pair with you that way, it may feel a little bit of friction. And we think this is a simple thing we could do to adjust that. So we're going to look into that. Then we also think that America's East can help America's West by having a handoff internally to pay attention to what is the state of the queue as we prepare to hand off to America's West, who then hands off to APAC, right? And we think it starts at America's East to start there to set up America's West for the handoff. So that was something that came out as well. Also, there was this idea that with high priority tickets, can we swarm them? Can we do something where people come together, ideate, and maybe get to a state where we can deprioritize those tickets? So take them from a 4-hour SLA into something where we've gotten a workaround and we can move that down into a less pressure SLA, a lower pressure SLA. And that's exciting. That was an interesting idea where it makes sense. We normally just think about treating the ticket at that priority and resolving it. But if we can deprioritize, that will also help. And the most advanced thing that came out, but is interesting and something that the people in the room thought could be very helpful, is if tickets were auto-assigned to crew members, then we start to have an ability to have a clear queue where everybody has their work that they are assigned that they start with. And obviously you can partner, pair, trade, collaborate, whatever you need to do to solve that. But then it starts the conversation with, okay, here's the stack that I'm responsible for now. Let me make sure I handle those, or let me make sure I find someone who might be better suited, right? So that's something, there was a couple of ways that we talked about that, but this feels way more advanced than something like updating our handbook to clarify FRT and NRT and adjusting crews, where this is now building some sort of auto assignment process that takes into account state and things like that. So interesting and interested in doing it, but moving that lower in priority, seeing if we can get some lower hanging fruit first. And the last thing that I wanted to put on this takeaways was we talked about collaboration a bit, and you heard me talk earlier about crew composition and collaboration, how that works. One of the things I heard and noticed was people would join the Zoom room to collaborate, and they might get left hanging. So the two guides that I have are, if you want to join, give a shout out, hey, I'm going to join the room in an hour. I'd love to have you there, and then join in an hour, and also give people a reminder. I think that would work really well based on what people were telling me, right? That's not just my idea. That's what I heard from people who had success. And then also, if you have a specific ticket, say, hey, I'm working on this ticket, I need some help. I'll be in the Zoom room, and you can jump in there. And if people can jump in and help, I think that is another way that you can ask for help and use the Zoom room, where it's just meant to be kind of a meeting place. So hopefully that helps avoid some of that misconnection, and that's where we're at. So just to wrap up, we currently left the SLA and FRT rotations in PagerDuty for America. We're going to remove those. We're going to standardize on the crew workflow for now, with the crew schedule that we've been using that is listed on the second slide of this presentation. We're also going to use those issues that we made to talk about progress on those fronts, right? And some of the issues are skeletons right now. Others have already started moving forward, which is great. You'll hear results of that in Slack, Support Week in Review, and any other presentations like this. There's a working group forming for first response time that Lyle is leading, and we're going to partner really well with him, and we being me and anybody else who's been involved in these efforts, to better understand what we need to do. So I think a lot of the efforts we've already started. Lyle was involved in the call yesterday. He's already aware. He's excited. He thinks those will help. We're going to do analysis and pay attention there. And also, I want to give a shout out. Thank you for everybody who was involved already. If you want to continue to be involved, please jump in at any level. If you'd like to be a DRI, ask. I want to be a DRI for this. I'm currently the DRI acting for all of these, but I'm going to look for more DRIs. I want help. I need your help. And just contributions help as well. So if there's something you're interested in, please contribute. And I end with be well. Thank you so much, everyone there, for those contributions. That was very helpful. The last slide I had here was a little bit of meta. As I zoomed out and took some time to think about the meeting, I wanted to thank everybody, and I'm trying to do a better job of allowing async updates and collaboration. These calls, these recaps I've heard have been helpful, so that's why I'm doing them. But I also realized I made that agenda and I should have made it sooner, because the longer it existed with more prompt in it, people may have engaged more asynchronously, which could have made our synchronous time more valuable. I think it was valuable, and I think the meeting went well, but I'm always looking to improve. So that was something that was on my mind. The other thing that I felt that I struggle with as a manager is manager voice, and when to lead meetings, and how to collaborate more effectively. We've adopted lean coffee in some aspects to do things like that, and other meeting formats. I enjoyed that meeting, but I also look forward to more collaboration and allowing people to speak more. So I'm hoping that we can also explore that. So that's something that's on my mind. And I realized as well, one of the things that might have caused some confusion or some question from the team that I need to apologize for. I said Wednesday, and then it was on Tuesday, and then it was a little confusing, and some people got confused. So I apologize on that. I just wanted to make sure that I took a second to own that. So thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you're not watching and you're reading it, you never heard me say this. So